Hey guys, we are just about ready to install this structure, trunk lid structure, onto the trunk skin, or is it the trunk skin onto the structure? Depends how you look at it, where you're standing. You're watching Envision Prototypes. I'm Nick, if you're new to our channel, and what we have here in front of us is the trunk structure out of that car, shortened 10 3/4 inches. Not sure if you guys can tell, but I think that looks almost factory. Passable, yes, yeah, okay. So went ahead, media blasted the inside, outside flange, give it a coat of epoxy primer. Now we can go ahead and deal with that trunk lid, because right now it's not going to fit. The front is one width, the back is a second width. Now I really didn't want to cut 10 3/4 out of that center of that trunk lid. That's a lot of welding, a lot of work to bring them all together. Not that I'm lazy, it's just, is there another way we can tackle this? And I think there is. We're going to cut this area right through here, just before the roll into the trough. Make a cut so that we can widen the front, because this is now the front, not here. You can see how much wider it is in that distance. Now the back edge of this trunk lid, there are some trim holes there, filled those. We have to replace, you see that piece sticking out there? We have to replace that length, because that hem, this part here, was actually breaking off. It rusted, didn't rust through, but it rusted enough that when I unfolded it, it just broke off. And well, the right way is to add a new piece. You can see it's been added. Instead of bringing the two pieces together and welding along that line and trying to finish it and make it look nice. The other thing is, if it ever comes down on you, you'll be carrying your head in your hands. It's going to be that sharp. So we want a factory edge, which has a bit of a radius on there, and I don't think it'll ever come down, but you never know. And it'll be done properly is what I'm trying to say. That width there is actually that width, which we have to make this into that width. So I'm going to take and cut through here, and we'll put a piece in there. I think. Let's try it. This trunk lid is in really nice shape. A little bit of a dent there, probably from junk in the trunk and somebody tried to close it, but it's in really nice shape. I need a marker. Oh, I have one right here. Yeah. Just trying to see the best spot to cut it, how much to cut it, probably right into here. I don't want to cut on the radius because that's going to be a devil to finish, but up in the flatter area, I think we can get it done. We don't need much. It's 3/4 of an inch, maybe, and I think we can gain that in this distance. So I'm using my micrometer and lining up with the factory edge, about there to there. The end is going to be cut away. Oh no, don't do that. Okay. Yeah. It's going to fall in here somewhere. I might have to cut back a little more. I'm going to see what happens with the material when I start pulling that out. Four and a half. Sorry to laugh, but it's 4.5. So technically, I should be able to measure this side at 4.5. And eyeball it. For now, I'll double check it, don't worry. I see some of you jumping out of your seat. Get that phone and give me a call. Amy. Okay. Oh, the other thing I should check is distance. 25.5. 4.5, 25.5. 25.5. And you get that little butterfly in your stomach. It's like, what if I'm doing the wrong thing? And I know 10 of you have already mashed it into the comments saying that, Nick, you know, it's better to take it out of the middle because of whatever reason. I just don't see it right now. This is so nice through here. We can do an overlap well. Yeah. I'll take care of that dent later. Get my hammer and dolly out. It's over there, but I'm trying to psych myself to cut this. I want to cut it, flip it upside down, get that trunk lid snapped into place. Not hem, but just it snaps in. It's kind of like a turtle shell. It just like grips onto that structure. And that's what gives this its shape as well. Okay, let's do it. I'm going to cut this side first. So if this goes south, you won't see it. I want to see how much resistance there is when I pull this out 3/4 of an inch. And as I'm pulling it, I notice there's a dip that's being created here. It's sucking the material down because there's not enough of surface area to allow it to move out. So I could planish it, or I can cut like over there, another 1.5 inches, and then planish it, stretch it up. I don't want to planish just yet, because I want to get the structure in, see how that fits. If it fits, my fingers are crossed, then we'll take care of the metal work. We'll get onto that door shortly. It's not bad, it's coming along. Okay, we'll take care of that as soon as we pop this side in. I'm serious. A little hammer like this doesn't have the oomph to pump it up. This wavy flange here, I'm going to take care of that later. I can take care of it later. I know I can take care of it later, so I'm not fussing too much about that. Right now, my primary concern is to find out exactly how much material we have to add, 3/4 of an inch. Eyeballed it, and we're going to have to take and cut away the front, take away that sound deadening where this flange is going to sit because we don't want the extra thickness, and leave enough material to hem. They have just under 1/2 inch. That's what we need to do. Just under 1/2 inch. What do we have this half? Oh, masking tape. Could use a shear, but shear doesn't like this sound deadening too much. It is rock hard. Now, that went off too fast, too far. I'm tempted, while it's in this position, to put a screw in it, there and there, to hold it in this position so we can get things aligned a little bit easier next time. When it comes to rolling a flange around the corner, it's 1/2 inch or just under 1/2 inch, probably 7/16, that'd be under 1/2 inch, along the long straight edges. When you get to a corner, it's a 1/4 inch. The factory didn't want to fight with rolling so much material over. I don't even know how they do it in the factory. It's amazing how nicely they can pin it on to the structure, just production-wise. But they reduced the length of this flange in this area to 1/4 inch. And that's what we're going to do along the front. Time to chop chop. No, that's the other thing. We now know where to bend this one here. Did I say bend? I meant cut. We now know where to cut this one here. I know where to bend it, but to cut it. And there we have it, guys. Everything's outlined. That tape indicating a little bit of the edge we need to reduce. Corner has been marked, front edge marked, pinned. We have 3/4 inch of a wedge we need to install there as well as there. I'll probably get those templates made up, tack it while it's all together. Keep working it as a unit. Last thing I want is to create the wedges, put them in, and find out I have to cut out 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch. We want this to fit right. This is going to be the width of the trunk opening. At the front right there. And with that back edge marked, we can take and trim away everything above that green line. See a little jog in the middle. So I'll get that back edge straightened out and we'll start cutting. A little bit concerned about this top green tape line being black, the primer being black. I can't see my blue that I marked. So I'm going to use a bit of guide coat and highlight that line. So if the tape does come off, we can see it. Just a little misting. All this is going to be sanded, so any dry overspray will get sanded off. See a nice crisp line? Now we just cut along that line and Bob's your uncle. Let's take a break. We're leaving this all together. I'm going to roll this over 90 degrees, maybe a bit more than 90, because that'll pop up into place, not a problem. I'd like to throw this up on the car and see how it looks. I'm not sure if this is obvious, but I think we're pretty much committed to putting in a couple little wedges and metal finishing that. It's a lot easier to roll a hem than weld 5.5 feet of panel. Yeah, I'm getting weak. You cut enough 18 gauge, give it a try sometime and see, get back to me. Let me know how your hand feels. A little more. Now we're going to throw this up, like I mentioned, but it probably won't fit. Oh, we can maybe adjust those corners. Stand the flanges up a little bit because some of them are opened up more than 90, so that'll prevent it from sitting down properly. But what we'll do is just stand them up, clean them up. The front edge, we're going to leave that for now. Get this in place after we roll this. Take a look. I'm going to grow another arm. Be right back. Now, if you've never rolled a hem before, don't think you're going to get it up the first time. You're going to take it slowly. You're going to work your way down the length, maybe 5-10 degrees, and then another 5-10 degrees, and work that flange up until it's sitting right where you need it to be. We won't be able to get a consistent, especially with 18 gauge, you won't get a very consistent edge if you try rolling it up, rolling it up, rolling it up. So we're going to do the length down first. Then the second pass, third pass. At the 100th pass, maybe 99th pass, we should be there. I'm backing up the edge of the structural sheet metal, and I'm just hitting the very tip, using this as a lever to roll it over. And the hammer, it floats in your hand. Don't squeeze it to death. Just give it a nice, comfortable grip. You're going to be at this for a little while. I'm not standing here trying to roll it over. As I'm hammering, I'm watching this edge and seeing what's happening. I'm still a little bit out there, not worried about that. I'm going to get down to the end and then start fine-tuning it. Okay, now one thing I noticed, this edge is getting a little bit rounded. So back up with the dolly, underside, and start rolling the top down. All right, that's enough tapping for now. You're gonna see this, and it's not gonna look very pretty. It's very rounded at the moment. We'll take care of that later when we final assemble the structure to the skin to the structure. This is 18 gauge. If you ever want to fool around with it, grab a piece and start rolling it over and see how it goes. Now, there's other ways of doing this. You have machines for rolling edges. However, we don't have that machine, so I do it with a hammer and dolly. That's fine, I get the job done. Let's see how it looks up there. Okay. You can see that this area that was unhemmed is holding us up, so it's not sitting down all the way. And down here, you see that 1/2 inch gap along the bottom. Perfect up to here. We're gonna have to make an adjustment in this area because it's very rounded. And as we drive that hem closed, and the trunk lid is moving, we will also move it down just by tapping the inside edge, the raw edge downward. This area here needs to roll up, and that'll close in that gap to where it needs to be. That's why none of this was finished. So you can't just do one part, finish it, and metal finish it, and be happy, because then you're going to be stuck adding rod to there or something to close that gap in. On both sides we have a dip right there and here, like this. It's hard to see probably with the reflections, and this is sticking out past the body. Now we slid down again. See how it's sticking out? So when that rolls down, that's going to roll up, radiusing this back up. Because we haven't hemmed the front lip, the front flange, it's hitting that panel and it's keeping us out at the back. So it's not just cut it apart and refit it and hem it and get it back on the car. There's a little bit of work. This side here has to roll this way. That'll drop down, that radius will match up, because this structure matched what was there at the front. So that's not an issue. It's the skin that's deforming things right now. And you can just imagine the work we would have had to cut the center and rejoin it, because you're also dealing with edges, you're dealing with the whole crown through here, these little reverse curves. It's way more complicated. I'm going to get into this because there's going to be a lot of just repetitive work, and we will bring you guys in when it's more or less fitting a bit closer than what it is now, because you're not going to see much change between now and the next couple of hours. It's pony time. Anybody over 65, including myself, will know where that came from. As you can see, I've got a pony clamp on this deck lid. We can get rid of this vice grip. So get this pony clamp, squeezing everything together. I've pinched, hemmed, started hemming the edges over, and I think we're on our final track. It's been a little while. I've got the wedges installed, welded, metal finished. There's no way to get into those areas once this structure is in place. So that's done. I've adjusted the top edge, bottom edge of the trunk lid, so that it flows with the trunk area, the bottom of the trunk area there where the latch goes. And I've also adjusted that panel. You see the blue line is good there, but it disappeared here and here, and I got a lot more screws. So I've taken this, reefed it up, put the screws in, well, clamped it, put the screws in, and now it's being held at the angle we need, and it's looking pretty darn sweet. It's basically a piece of 3/4 inch pipe with 2 clamps, one adjustable with a thread and one with a slip slide system. They come in really handy. Up we go. At the front, you can see we are away from where it has to be. These wedges are installed, metal finished, and I just have to sand that out. It's done. You can see the hem a little bit on the edge there. It's keeping us up. You see here, that hem that we unrolled is keeping us out. Yeah. I'm going to start with the sides, get them hemmed over, work that in, tighten that up, and I think it's really important, I'll leave these screws in place. I think it's really important that we get this front rolled up. I've started, but I haven't quite finished it. Now, sometimes that works out really well where you can place a dolly here, but I'm afraid that I might creep on that radius. There's a dolly that I've created just for doing hems on doors or on panels. It has a knife edge, has some mass to it, a chair back from my office chair. Watch when I lean back now. First fitment after hemming everything. Let's see how it looks. Okay. We need to do a little bit of adjustment with the radiuses here on the sides. Kind of suspected that. It never fit properly in the beginning. However, we need to adjust things so that it fits properly now. Sticking out the back a little bit, that's okay. And the center is low. Sides are out, center is low. Just when you thought we were done. Center, you can see, I can't push it ahead right now because it's going to slide back down. This amount that has to go in is this space here. You see, we're out past the body there, as well as there. I'm debating if I put the pony clamp back on and give it a squeeze. That'll bring the center up and bring the sides in. And we should be close. Let's give that a try. It's got a really nice feel to it. Really sturdy. I'm hoping we can squeeze it. Got my fingers crossed. Hello, tape measure. There you are. You guys are holding it for me, thanks. Appreciate it. The space over there is 63, just under. And we're sitting at 63 and probably 3/8. It's a heavy quarter at least. So now we know what we got to do. I'm going to move it out because our concern is to bend these points in right there and there. This is part of the job sometimes. We had a 70 Camaro, I think it was a 70 Camaro, all in primer came in. It was through 3 different shops and everybody tried to set the gaps on it. The car, when it came here, was an absolute disaster. Check out the video, I'll put a card up above. The client didn't want to pull the quarters off. He's on a limited budget. And we respected that budget by leaving the quarters on and adjusting every single panel on the car by pushing and pulling. It was some pretty serious business that we did, but we got it. And the customer was quite pleased with it. So I'm gonna give it a little more of a squeeze, because I've talked about a thing called spring back. That's where you squeeze it and then it just bounces back to where it was. We're sitting at 62 3/4. Sometimes you can't just start tearing the car down to absolute nothing. You'd have to take the quarters off. Didn't want to go into that. So we left the quarters on, massaged the body panels, worked around it, and we were able to get that car looking really sweet. 62.5. Let's give it a try. Are you kidding me? 63 again. I'm trying to curve the structure and pull the sides in. So we're going to give it some more. Try again. $62 1/4. Now, I'm wondering if we tap the sides a little bit to help things along, just behind the clamp here. This is going to be a trial and error type of thing. Let's measure it again. You saw we gapped everything. 62 7/8. We're going to try this, see what happened. Hopefully the center came up too. Let's get you guys in here. So as you can see, we've got this radius happening. It's really close, guys. We're not on the hinges yet. Just bear with me. See how tight that is? And that's out the same amount over there. The center, when we bring this into place, will come up. I will have to make the final adjustments on the car. Not a big deal. Over here, we are slightly in. The same amount that we're out over there. We're tight there. Keep following along, guys, and we're a little bit large in terms of gap there. This will have to be adjusted to the quarter panel on the car. Back here, we're touching down here. We're touching down here. And we have, there's a 1/4 inch there. I can also tighten up that hem a little bit, but I think I'm going to get it on the hinges, and then we can decide, or not decide, but fine tune it to the car. Little trunk lid, but look how much work there is. Oh, that's not good. Much, but I think we can get it. Obviously, we won't be putting it on the car once painted like this. When it's in bare metal, you have some leeway. Done with that. Screws, bolts, not screws. That's using your head, as they say. One more time. I could use a dumbwaiter, but it works just as well. If I could find one, I'd had one. Dumb waiter. I want to hook up the torsion bars. That's the torsion bar settling into place. Yeah, it jumped back into its slot. It jumped out when I had the trunk lid off. Shoot. All right. We need to move ahead a little bit on this side, and I think we got to move back on this side. Maybe too much. Yeah. That's better. Kind of. We're too far forward on the driver's side. That's fitting in quite well. We may need one more spacer at the front over there. This is fitting well. Not well. This panel here is down, the trunk is up. This isn't too bad on this side. All right, let's bump up the center. This little thing will never cut it. Could jack it up, but I'm going to bump it. That's what this is for. Ah, much better. Using the mass of the hammer to do the work. Okay. It's starting to groan. The back edge is out a little bit there, a little bit in there. That's good. Much better. Let's bring you in a little closer. So you see that up in there, that little trough where the lead was? We need to bring that down. That's fitting in really well across the top. This side, driver's side, is good. See how tight we are right there? That needs to open up a little bit. Not bad up front, but at the back. And as we come over to the right, you know what? We can probably move that trunk lid to the passenger side a little bit. Just unbolt it, slide it over. Yeah, I can bring Jack back in to help us, but I think a few thumps with the big hammer that's better. That's better. Ooh. Okay, I like that. I'm hitting here, not there anymore. Still okay on the surface. We just push things down a little bit. I need better hearing protection. I'm hoping to use this entire surface to move that whole corner down. It's not destroyed in the metal yet. We haven't moved that much. I'm looking for about a 1/16, heavy, like about 1/8 of an inch. Heavy 1/16 to help us out. Yeah. Well, this improved this side immensely. I can just move this over that way. I think we're going to have it. Okay, this is factory. I'm trying to distort the lead that's in here. See, I haven't taken that lead out. That's original. And by me hitting it in there, that lead's starting to crack, so I'll have to melt that out. Not filing through the hem, just adjusting my weld there. That's where that joint is. It's good. Me likey. Always adjust one thing at a time. Don't do 4 or 5 things and then, you'll be chasing your tail all day. Ooh, too much. Oh, not bad. Wouldn't do that if it was painted. Once I know everything fits, then I know it'll fit later on when we go to reassemble after paint. Right now it's just a matter of getting it to fit. It's looking good there. Ho ho. Those hinges are getting a workout. So are the torsion bars. So that just bounces, it doesn't do anything. We need to thump it. think I mentioned this car was in an accident at one point. So things got tweaked really good. That's solid. I'm happier with this. Okay, let's bring you guys in, show you all this, what all this banging has been about. Okay, so there's lead here, we need to take that out. Take that out. On the inside, there's a piece of structure just like this, well, over there. It came out of there. That's where the fuel neck goes. This is the bracket I was talking about on the passenger side. We need to remove those plug welds that were welded up before, grind them out, remove that brace so that we can get in and metal finish this seam through here. Because with those in there, I can't do too much. It's pretty tricky. It did pull a little bit, so like I said, we'll just address that once I pull out the bracing. But I have to do one at a time. We'll do sections because I don't want to lose what we just gained. This lead here has got to go. Yeah, I showed you that hole already, so we'll get rid of that. And here we are. So I can do one arm. There's no latch. You see, the gap comes down. Consistent, no cutting. Now I'm creeping up again. There, I'm squeezing it down. So there's our nice consistent gap across the bottom. Now over here, it's in a little bit. The trunk lid, I think, oh, I forgot to tighten the bolts. But as you can see, we have a nice gap that goes up to the top there. And the front is looking really good. So I'm guessing that corner is a little bit tight. I'll loosen those bolts off, pull it back a bit, line that up down there, and I think we're done. It's climbing on its own. I re-drilled new holes for the torsion bars, moved them ahead a little bit more to reduce the force on this. You can see I added one more hole back there. They had provision for tension all the way back to this hole. Like that would have been insane. You could have built a trebuchet or a catapult out of this thing. So we might take and move this hole this way a little bit. I don't think so. It's feeling good. Once we lubricate everything, then we'll know what to do. These are temporary braces. We still haven't pulled them out. That's when we first started cutting the car up. I left them in there. Like I said, it has to be ground out, taken out, and cleaned up. We have some holes to fill. When we get this on the rotisserie, we'll deal with all that. We got to do that yet. This is not a green machine. Yeah, it slid ahead. I don't want to fight with it. I just want to move it back a little bit. I think I'll do that with a screwdriver. All right guys, we have the trunk lid shortened, installed, fitted to the body, and that's it for now. Later on, when we are in the metal finishing stage, I'm gonna go through and just tweak it perhaps a little bit more. I'd like to get these braces out one at a time. That one's out. Metal finish this, get that taken care of, put everything back in, and then refit the trunk lid one last time to the perimeter. We also got to get rid of this Bondo that's in here, grind it out, and it looks like actually fiberglass. It's kind of funny. It didn't grind like Bondo when I was in there earlier. Got to find out if there are any holes and get that taken care of. Get the lead taken care of, remove it, weld that up. There's some seams up at the top, got to weld those up. Because when the car did come in, I noticed there was a crack through here. We're not running with the original latch. I want a popper on it. So we're going to reverse it, have the mechanism down here, the release, and the loop up here. I'm really falling in love with this. It's sporty, performance, right? Short deck lid, performance. If you enjoyed this video, let us know in the comments, hit the like button. If you're new, hit that subscribe button so you can follow along and actually see this car finished. Metal work is a very tedious process. So once we get that done, we're on the home stretch. I'll leave it at that. Thanks for watching and take care.